All right, guys, welcome to Flippin' Awesome Coaching. We're so glad to have you here. Today, we have a good friend. His name is Payton Fisher. He is going to be helping us learn a tool and something that I actually have been teaching a lot of people ever since I learned it from him. So thank you, Payton. And it's really cool. I actually had quite a few people tell me how much this tool has helped them. And it's very simple, but it's so powerful. So I told Payton I wanted him to come on and teach the tool to everybody. I'm going to let him do that, but just in a second, he has a lot of great experiences. So I'll give you a quick little brief background and let Payton fill in all the blanks. But he is a Utah guy. He's born and raised here.
Iowa. I've been here 18 years.
Oh, you were from Iowa. Sorry. Yes.
Okay.
And then he's I guess owned a lot of businesses that have totally failed, which is awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we can't wait to hear about some of those experiences, but he understands what it means to work really hard. He is very much a high energy, which I kind of have that understanding because I like to talk fast, as everybody knows. High energy, get things done, keep moving forward. Let's see what else we can create. Let's see what else we can do, how else we can impact people, what else we can just see what else there is available in life, what other possibilities are there. So I love that. And whenever I'm talking to him, it's exciting to hear what he's going to plan next. And yet the thing that's really cool is he's really good about accepting failure. It's almost like he has a bring it on attitude. So I want you, and he's had a lot of obstacles. And like I always say, there's never a time where we don't have obstacles. It's just a matter of, are we focusing on them? So I'm going to let Payton talk a little bit more about some of his experiences and how it relates to this tool that he uses now and how that can help all of us. So Payton, are you ready?
Sure, let's make this happen. Okay, so like you were saying, I grew up in Council Bluffs, Iowa. I moved out here to Utah when I was 14 or 15. My dad got non-smoking lung cancer, and sadly he passed away when I was about 15. And I think a lot of that is I attribute a lot of my successes to, it sounds good and bad, but to the scarcity mentality of I've been afraid my whole life that I was going to be a failure. I thought it was my fault that my dad passed away. And so through my businesses, through those successes and failures, like you said, yes, I have. I ran, bought, and sold about 9 different companies, and 7 of those haven't made any money. Some of those I've lost quite a bit of money on, but the 2 that have been very, very successful, I've made tons and tons of money. I ran a successful salon and barbershop for 5 years, did really, really well at that. And then my company that I'm in right now, I've been selling real estate for several years. We've been doing really, really well, tons and tons of deals, and have been able to overcome all of those failures with just a few big successes, which has been really awesome. And I attribute a lot of that to my coach through the Mike Ferry organization, which has been incredible. Actually listening and applying to what your coach says, it actually changes things. And so I got it out of my head that my way of doing things were going to be right, and I was always right, and because I was the one doing it, I am the one doing it, and having someone else tell me I'm bullheaded and arrogant and stubborn, I got to quit saying those things. I'm coachable, I'm teachable, I'm moldable, and I do my best at applying what my coaches teach me. Right. And so through that, I was at a big training and you can cut me off if I'm talking too long. About 2 or 3 months ago, this tool called You're Whole and Complete that I taught you, it actually came to me that I was supposed to be going to a business retreat, or I mean, you could apply this to an athletic retreat training program. It was supposed to be business specific, and it turned out to be more or less a self-awareness program on yourself, because I would have never went to a self-awareness retreat, never, not in a million years.
Now, why is that? I have 2 questions for you, but why wouldn't you ever go there as opposed to a business retreat? Tell me what your stigma was.
Because I didn't need to work on myself. I'm already good enough. I don't need help. I am already awesome. Well, what I realized is that, so that was the first one, is that I didn't need to do that. And what was the second question?
Well, why you thought that what was the stigma that held you back from even the idea of going to something that might be a transformational retreat instead of a business retreat?
It's one of those, like, I just feel like it's like a big counselor session involved like a 3-day counselor session. It's like, I don't need that. I love counselors. I think everyone should go to counseling. I just don't want to go to 2 days of solid counseling.
And you just don't need it. Everybody else does.
Yeah, well, I'm okay with 1 hour sessions, just not a 2 day session.
Okay.
And but I love business, so I'll go to a business retreat if it will help me have one of my businesses grow like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't realize though is with this, when I went to this business retreat slash
Mm-hmm.
self-awareness retreat, it turned out to be complete self-help, and it has completely changed my life over the past, has it been almost 3 months? Completely changed my life for the better. And so can I talk about what that is now?
Of course, I have one more question for you before you go on. You had just briefly kind of glided over the fact that you feel like you were the purpose, you were the reason for your dad's death. And I just, if you're comfortable, just telling us a little bit, because I'm sure that's part of been the road for you of how you've responded to life when you think that you're responsible for somebody who's significant in your life. And for that, I would think that that would be something that shows up in your work and what you're choosing to do all the time.
Yeah, so when I was younger, it's hard to explain unless someone's had someone in their immediate family die, a close sibling or a parent. You just don't fully understand what that person's going through. And at that time, I still remember the day that my mom said, "Hey, your dad has lung cancer," and they gave him 6 weeks to live.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really understand that. And I think even to this day, as I look back, it's like, whoa, what was I going through? And when you're that young, I was the youngest of, I had 3 siblings living at home with me. So there was 4 of us, and I was the youngest. And life was just complete chaotic. And there was no more focus on me as a person. It was all my dad. And I'm not angry about that. It's just what happened in my life. And so when that happened, I always was wondering, what did I do to cause this? What was my problem? And when my father did pass away, my brother left on a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. My other sister went to Dixie College, and my other sister was a gypsy. And so she's always traveling. And so it went from 3 siblings at home and 2 parents to within literally 18 months, all 3 of my siblings were gone. My dad passed away, and my mom went back to work. So I was like at home by myself. So I attribute a lot of my motivation and drive is that, and let me back up. And financially, we didn't have the means for my mom to stay at home for a long time. My mom got like 100 grand when my dad passed away. They'd just taken his term insurance from like 400,000 to 120 or something. And so financially we were struggling. Just the whole world just kind of came down on me. And as I apply myself in my life now, a lot of that is the scared mentality of I'm scared to ever have my family have to go through that. So I am willing to work harder, push harder. I'll wake up earlier, stay up later, do anything that I can to make my family, at least financially wise, as successfully as possible. And I've realized just in the past few months that even though that's a great passion and a desire to make sure your family is financially provided for, there's a lot more in life that comes than just having money in your bank account. Mm-hmm. And so that's where my tool, You Are Whole and Complete, has completely changed my life.
Okay, perfect. And I think that does have a huge influence in the path that you've taken, is what it sounds like to me. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, we would love to hear. Keep going. I want to hear what you did.
Okay, so coming to the realization a few years ago that I wanted to be in real estate and making tons and tons of money, I said, okay, it's time for me to be all successful. Let's work super hard. Let's make tons of money. So over the past couple of years, I got a business coach. I did exactly what he said. We made a lot of money. Last year we closed 57 deals, second full year in the business. So we're doing really well. And what had happened is I kind of hit this burnout mode of what is going on? Why am I not happy? Almost everything in my life is paid off except my house. I don't have credit card bills. I have nothing. I have money in the bank, and I'm still like just inside. I'm like, there's something missing. What's going on? So I thought it was my business. So I plowed back into my business. I joined a company called Allies. It's a big networking group here in Southern Utah. And they said, hey, come to this big retreat with us. And I said, great, let's do it. This business, quote unquote, business retreat. So I go to this business retreat, and my participation level in anything that I do is 100%. If someone asks for a volunteer, my hands as fast as I can go, I'll go. And so they had in the retreat, they had everybody sit in a big circle, and they called it the hot seat, and they said, hey, who wants to go first? And I said, I do. And so I jumped in there, and I thought it was going to be everybody's going to grill me on my business and what are my procedures and what's going on and how can I apply this and how can we mastermind to make me 100 times better real estate agent. Well, it was interesting because one of the first questions they asked me is, are you happy in real estate? And I was like, well, yeah. And they're like, well, why did you have to take so long to think about that? And it's not to say that I don't enjoy real estate, but it might not be my why, my passion of, oh my gosh, I love negotiating and I love the deal and I love that. I like those. That's not my why. And it almost scared me. And I'm pretty sure I cried at that event when people were asking me, well, why don't you love what you do? And why don't you this? And they started quizzing me on a different level. And they asked me, well, what do you love to do? And I told them, well, I love to coach and I love to help people. I love to help small businesses and I love to help people overcome the challenge of picking up a phone and dialing. And I can relate that in the sports world of actually doing what you're supposed to be doing, you know, day in and day out and day in and to be able to help that person overcome that first hurdle, the second hurdle, the third hurdle. And what had happened is through that event, my insides wanted to be on my outsides. I was stressed out of my mind. There was a lot of emotions on what am I doing in my life and what's going on. And one of the trainings that we talked about, and this was an indifferent way, they never came out and said that you need to put a bubble around yourself. As I was taking my notes at the event, I'm writing all of these things, and one of the biggest things that they kept saying to everyone is you're whole and complete. And I'm like, what does that even mean? You are whole and complete. There are no accidents, and we're here for a reason. And I'm like, this sounds like a churchy seminar type of thing. And as we went through on, it was probably at 1 or 2 in the morning, that first night that I said, okay, something's I don't say wrong with me, but something's different that I want to change. And I wrote the words, you are whole and complete on my paper, and I drew a bubble around it. So that's what I want you to imagine is you are whole and complete with your first bubble. Okay, so you are whole and complete as a person, and no matter what happens to you in your life, you always look back on that little bubble. And for those who are just listening to audio, I'm putting my hands in a circle, and you are whole and complete in the middle. And what I realized is that in life, when we allow things to hit us, that bubble can break and mold really easily, and you let other people pierce into that bubble. So what I did is I wrote another bubble, so a double bubble. Okay, so you have your whole and complete, one circle, and then about an inch out, I drew another circle on that. And then I wrote the words and then until. You are whole and complete, and out here, we're going through so much chaos. You know, an elite athlete is like an elite business person because it's extremely hardcore. You follow extremely rigid policies, procedures, trainings, programs, everything. What we do though, as professionals, whether it's in the business or in the gym world or in the athletic world, we base our morals that you're a whole and complete on how good we are.
Right.
We did a really good transaction or a really good routine or a really good something. Well, now I'm a better person because I did this. And in the reality, that's not how it is. It doesn't matter how you perform out here. You have to be whole and complete. And I did a really good routine, or I did a really bad routine, and I'm okay with that. And I can feel those emotions, and I can feel that experience out here. But always remember, you have your little bubble that you are whole and complete, and you're experiencing things. And the reason why I write until, or those other words is I'm whole and complete until I do a bad routine, or I do a crappy deal, or I have a deal fall apart. And now I'm not happy. Now I'm unhealthy again. And so that has been literally the biggest transformation probably in my life. And I've grown more than anything. I had some huge business experiences just explode over the past 2 months, changed brokerages, changed business partners, changed my team. And it has literally exploded my brain. And through that whole thing, I kept going back and saying, I am whole and complete, and I'm going through an experience over here. It doesn't do anything to me, and I'm okay with that. And so it's transformed my life. And so one of my new goals is to be able to help coach and teach people that same way as, Amy, you are whole and complete, and you have a really cool coaching business, and you have a cool online gym, and even if you fail at one of those, you're still cool, or you're not cool. There we go. Cool is just a label. See, it's so hard to come back to just saying you are whole and complete. Every single thing in your life you have to put out here, even your spouse, even your religion, even your most hardcore beliefs, is you're whole and complete. And I'm a very religious person. I read I read the scriptures, and I love reading the scriptures because it makes me feel good, whatever they are. And so that's, I'm going to create a name for that tool. Like you were asking me, what's the name? I don't know the name. I call it You're Whole and Complete. That's kind of a long name.
I'm telling you, I keep telling people it's the shield of truth, because you have a truth in the middle that's true. It's just a fact. It's a fact that I choose to believe about me. I'm whole and complete, period. And then that truth, if I hold on to it, in fact, I was going to tell you, so one of the coaches that I coached on a college team, she had all of her athletes going into this conference competition, write their truth in a circle, in a bubble, and then put the ring around it. And she had them decorate it on their own posters. And that's what they took with them whenever they got distracted, whenever they felt doubtful, whenever they were worried that this is going to be a repeat of last year's where they didn't make nationals. She had them have that week. They had worked on their team's truth and then their own personal truth. And that truth for you is I'm whole and complete. They chose which one they wanted. And that's what kept them focused and moving forward in the goals that they had when they were actually at the competition. And I think that's something that renews your energy, right?
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was so cool, because we just took your tool and we just tweaked it the way it worked for them. But one thing I wanted to say about your tool that I love is when there's the bubble that you said, it doesn't matter if it's positive. So I am whole and complete until something happens and I feel less than, but also until something great happens and then I feel more than. None of that's true. It's not going to increase your bubble or decrease your bubble. You just are whole and complete. And I love that idea.
And nothing can change the core. Nothing ever. Zero. This is your bubble, period. And so that's what's hardest for me, because I want to say, well, I'm better because now I have more money, or I'm better because I'm spending more time with my family. No, I have to be whole and complete. And your relationships will get better. Your life will get better. Everything will get better around you once you realize that I am whole and complete. And these are all circumstances around us.
Well, and I love that title, whole and complete. Whole and complete, period. I think when you're saying I need a title for it, I think that's great. Another thing I like about that bubble idea for athletes, specific, any high performing, what you're talking about are high performing people, right? It doesn't matter if it's athletics who are high performing athletes, when they're done with sports, they're going to go into careers that are high performing careers because that's their nature. Just like you're saying, one of the top real estate agents in this area is because this is what you like to do. You're driven. You have passion for creating and moving and doing stuff. This is what I love about the bubble also, is that, like you were saying, a whole list of different things out here for athletes. It can be your competition, the scoreboard, your body. Our bodies sometimes don't function the way we want them to as an athlete. Sometimes you get injuries. That is when you said it's everything outside of you, including your spouse and your kids. Your body also, I think, goes on the outside of the bubble.
It does.
Which I think is pretty incredible for athletics and sports to think about that your body doesn't define you.
No, nothing defines you.
Right.
Nothing does. And that's so hard, because as I've taken, and I don't want to say I've taken a step back from my insanity routine. Yeah. I'm just applying that routine in a different way to help me feel whole and complete. And I struggle with this still literally every day. I do meditation every day. I try and exercise or stretch every day. I put a glass bubble on. We're all filled of energy, and I'm full of light. And so I put a glass jar over top of me. That's my bubble today. So if someone throws a dagger at me, it'll hit that glass, bounce off. Maybe I shouldn't make glass. I should make like titanium, so that way no one can shatter my bubble.
That's literally what I think of it as, is like that shield of Captain America. And where it's like whenever he has the firing things coming at him, he just holds onto that shield and it just hits it and goes off. It doesn't impact him at all. So that's how I vision what you talk about, the whole and complete idea. The bubble is just like this literal shield that's titanium that has no ability unless you lift the shield. And even when you do that, that's your choice. So you're still using your power to open up that bubble and say, go ahead and do what you want. I'm going to go ahead and let you make me feel some way, which they can't. Nothing can. But we're going to try to believe that something outside of us is going to cause our whole and completeness to diminish or increase, which is never true. So the truth is that foundation, like you're saying. So I love this idea for every aspect of our life, not just for business, but for athletics and as a student in school. Anything you're doing, make a list of all those things that you think are causing you enjoyment or pain. And I love that. I love looking at it going, wait a second, maybe none of this is impacting who I am. It's just me being me, and I love me because I'm whole and complete, and all these things are just things.
I believe I did a Facebook Live about a month or two ago on that your whole and complete training, and I may or may not have fell off of my ottoman when I was doing that training. 6 or 8 seconds, I fell right on my face and I jumped back up. I'm blushing. If you guys are listening to this audio, totally blushing right now because I wanted it to be real. I try not to edit my content. I just go as fast as I can.
Yeah.
And the whole training of just what she's saying is outlining every single thing, good and bad, because I hate to break it to you, you're not a better person because you get first.
Yeah.
And you're not a worse person because you get last. Someone is always first and someone is always last. And so and that's hard as a top producer. I don't want to be last. I want to be first.
Right. Because you think what? If you're first, what is our natural way of thinking if we're first? What is it, Payton?
I'm a better person. I'm
right.
awesome.
And I'm more awesome because I got first. That is not true.
My daughters, I have 3 girls right now and a boy. My wife's pregnant, and my daughters have never asked me if that's striking a chord. They've never asked me if I got first. They only want me to be at home. And so, and I relate that to when you're an athlete and you're feeling your emotions. I've been numb the past 18 months, grinding relentlessly on making sure I'm the best on the top. Now, I'll be honest, I still want to be on top because I just want to, but I'm realizing that it's not making me a better person or a worse person on my income level or what place I get or any of those things.
I always think, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and that's hard to overcome. I still haven't all the way. I'm still working on it. I'm aware of it now, finally.
Yeah, I think that the beautiful part about that is it's not about, you're not going to have to work on it. I think you're always going to have to work on it because we all have this primitive evolved brain, and the brain wants us to believe that we're not good enough, that there's something wrong with us or something wrong with life, or there's going to be, if not right now. And I think when you say I'm still working on it, it's going to be a lifelong pursuit to continually remind yourself that, hey, the truth is I'm fine here. The truth is I'm sitting here breathing, having a conversation with somebody over Zoom, and everything is okay in this moment. But our brain wants us to think, well, if it's okay right now, just wait for the next moment, right? And so that's always going to be a process, I believe. But that truth of whole and complete, when you think about your kids, they don't ask you, hey, Dad, what did you win when you were in high school? Hey, Dad, how many transactions did you complete this last year? They don't care about that. They just love you, which I think is a good lesson for all of us. When you're an athlete, what did you start doing sports for? Did you do it so that you could become a collegiate athlete when you were 5 years old? Probably not. You did it because you just loved the sport, because you were already whole and complete. You showed up just because it was fun. And the phrase just because is one of my favorite phrases. You're doing real estate. You're trying to get to the top just because, but it feels very different now for you because you already know you're enough with or without it.
Yep. And so, and I feel like I'm starting to be back to who I am as a person by saying I love to do service and I love to work I like to do service at the highest level possible. And it just goes back to, I've got to get this out of my brain that I need to do it at this level because then it makes me a better person. What I'm realizing is that I am whole and complete, and I'm going to work as hard as I can, And if I don't do 10 dills this month, I'm still whole and complete. Or as I relate that to a collegiate athlete is, I'm going to work as hard as I can because I want to. And if I lose, I'm okay with that. And that's really, really hard for someone to say and to actually feel those emotions.
Right.
And so I would challenge you or your athletes or whoever's listening here to truly to say, I'm okay with losing. Whoa. And feel those emotions. There's probably going to be a lot of tears come out.
Yes.
And then to say, I'm okay with winning. Yeah. Yes, I am. And get pumped and jazzed and go work as hard as you can. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that you have your bubble on, your shield, your glass jar, or your titanium, you know, thing here that just says you're whole and complete, and go work your butt off.
And do it just because you want to, because you're curious, because you want to see what else you can create, because that's what we love to do, is create more things, more of our life, more experiences, see where else we can fail, which you had 9 or 7 failed businesses.
Only
and you're
7. Only 7.
Not 9. What am I talking about? Come on. But I love that. So Payton, thank you. And I love this tool, you guys. I can't tell you how many people are telling me how much it's impacting their life to think about it. Yeah, right. To think about a bubble around them all the time, that nothing can get into that bubble without their permission. And it's always because you allow it. And that bubble is your sacred space. Essentially, that's you. That's who your core is. That's who you are since you've been a tiny baby. Nobody looked at you and they're like, oh, she should have had longer hair when she was born. No, she's perfect, right? Just like your 4 kids, perfect. And they've always been whole and complete. And
can I make one last statement?
Please.
So share a quick experience. So I reffed a church basketball game years and years and years ago. And I had people screaming at me. We're at church. There's like 20 people watching this. It's a bunch of hooligans. They're fouling each other like crazy. I'm not a coach. I'm not a ref. And these people are screaming at me. And I'll be honest, I opened up my bubble wide open and I just let it get to me. Stopped the game. I screamed at everyone. And I realized a respect for coaches and refs that I'd never experienced in my entire life. And one thing that I want to say to any coaches that are listening to this is that when a parent is screaming at you, they're so angry, you didn't play their kid, you didn't do these things. In my mind, they're not mad at you, they're mad at themselves, they're mad at their own lives, they're mad at their own things. And that when you can put that bubble on and just let them, tell me more, why are you mad your kid's not playing? Tell me more. Just let them come at it, and you have this shield on. It's going to make your life better. That parent is going to burn out eventually. They can only vent and yell so much. It's going to completely change your life on how you coach, if you ever have to ref, if you do any of those things, because you've got this perfect shield on. Okay, maybe it's not perfect. The idea is perfect.
Oh, it is perfect. It's a perfect shield because it's you. And there's and perfect, you are perfect with or without anything else, with or without the person yelling. Keep going though, I'm loving it.
Yes, and so it's a matter of realizing, stepping back and putting you in this bubble and saying, I am whole and complete, and I am having a really frustrated parent mad at me. And I'm okay, and I'm okay with that over here, but I'm still whole and complete no matter what. I couldn't imagine the pressure that a college coach has to have on putting these kids, teenagers, in at these massively high levels, and that pressure is all on them. Holy cow, that's got to be intense.
I love it. And Payton, that's so true. Could you imagine had you had this tool when you were in the middle of that situation that really didn't matter in the long run, but in that situation where everybody's yelling at you as the ref, as the coach who's not playing right, and you have the shield and you're like, go ahead, tell me what else you're angry. What else are you afraid about? What else is bothering you? Bring it on. I will keep my bubble here and you can say whatever you want. Yes. They would have been like, who is this guy?
That would have been so cool.
Right? Oh, I love that, especially for coaches. And a lot of coaches, in my mind, they're like, what they say is, I don't get paid enough for this, right?
Never.
Right. But they do, because if they realize they're whole and complete, then all they're doing is impacting the lives of others to help them feel whole and complete. And it's not about, they're not showing up well enough for somebody's kid. It's that they're showing up perfectly and other people are learning from them how to show up.
Do we need to say anything more to that then?
No, I think it's perfect. And I think it's great. And Payton, I just wanted to say, you guys, Payton's, he's amazing. You guys can learn so much from him. If anybody wanted to talk to you more about this tool, and I'm sure you're creating lots of other tools, but this one is such an impactful one, especially right now with everything going on. If they have anything that they want to say, hey, can you explain this a little more? Can you help us draw this out? We were going to have them draw it out, but you know what, with time, we're not going to. If you want a visual, if you want to talk to Payton more, Payton, could they get a hold of you?
Yeah, Devin, I'll give people my cell phone. It doesn't bother me. So my phone is 435-359-7877, or you can email me. It's just my name, Payton Fisher, Payton Fisher, Fisher, 1987 @gmail.com.
Beautiful. I'll put that in the show notes. Payton, thank you so much for your time today. And we sure appreciate what you've created for people to just love and enjoy. You guys use this. It's amazing. Thanks,
All right,
Payton.
thank you. I appreciate you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah.